Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to McKola and Howson Uncensored. I was about to say, what a week it has been.
What a week it has been.
Week's not even over yet.
True story.
So much can happen yet.
Well, it already started in it today. If this is posted today. When's this posted?
It's posted later on today as I speak now.
Okay. So it already started today. Carrington got infiltrated.
Yeah, I love that. Did you love that?
I loved it.
I was infuriated by...
Infuriated?
You don't start yet. Don't go too soon. I was infuriated by the radio when I drove up this morning because, unfortunately, what I like to do, is listen to talk sport to like kind of hone my opinion. So you know when you hear opinions you don't agree with, it makes your opinion more sure, doesn't it?
As I was listening to you say that, I was thinking, I listen to like Audible and audiobooks and podcasts of like comedians and stuff. And I was like, none of them like inspire me to talk about United. However, if I listen to TalkSport for, I don't know, 4 seconds, I'm going to have some shit to say.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God.
And that's exactly what happened. And I was listening to it.
Might start using it as a
and you've got
pre-game.
Yeah, that's what, pre-workout. And you got Simon Jordan there in his ivory tower, and Jim White, the fucking bellend.
To be fair to both of them, that's a right pair of bellends. And I know people are sitting there looking at this show going, the glassest of houses. Noted. I'm not on TalkSport.
Yeah, and
because I refuse to be on it, he goes on it.
Me and Joe go on it. So if you need us on it, apart from the Jim White show, give us a call.
Yeah. I told him to fuck off.
And so they're basically on there saying, well, you know, we don't mind protests, but that's going too far, isn't it? Can you explain to me which part these lads went too far?
No. Did I tell you what I was planning to do?
No, because you can't. That's why. No, like, I'm not trying to allude to the fact that they've gone too far.
No, they haven't.
Because they haven't. It's a peaceful protest.
It was Jay that I told.
What did you tell?
I can't tell you on here because they'll lock me up. But I had an idea.
Okay. Thanks for that.
No problem.
If you hear Steer's been locked up, just know he's gone through with his idea.
Yeah. I'd have deserved it.
But it's true. It's like you hear these people coming out sneering down at these fans and looking down at them, and then they'll have the cheek to say something like, well, it was too late. Why didn't you do nothing in 2005? Why didn't you do... There's fans trying to do something. We see what happened at Sport in Lisbon. Didn't people ransack the fucking training ground and beat everybody up?
Yeah.
At least these
Marseille fans set fire to theirs with flares.
Yeah.
That was only a couple of months ago, I think.
Yeah, and these went there, made their voices heard.
They just took
brought
photos
banners.
of banners. They made the women's team and the youth team go in, but no one was harmed.
And they wouldn't have made the youth team they would have been sent in as a precaution. Like, they wouldn't have done anything to them. Do you know what I mean? These are Manchester United fans who want to make a statement to the people at the top. How do you do that?
Do the authorities want us? Probably. But are they actually thinking here, us go, the thugs, they shouldn't have done that? No, fuck that. Do it every day.
Peaceful protest.
Do it every day. If you feel strongly enough about something, and I do feel that strongly about it, and I'm obviously not in that WhatsApp group, otherwise I'd have been there right where with them, right? But if you do feel that strongly,
I'd love to hear the things they say about us in that WhatsApp group.
You especially don't really. But I would like, if that's what you feel strongly enough about doing, and you want to fucking get your voice heard, go protest. That is your fucking right as a citizen to go and fucking make your voice heard.
It's true, and fair play to them lads. Seriously, hats off to them, because I'll tell you what they've done.
An army.
I'll tell you what they've done. The momentum that was built up on Sunday, Monday with the Liverpool Leeds fans, Tuesday with the Chelsea fans, then there was it Arsenal fans were at their ground. Then Arsenal fans are back there on Friday. Today is Thursday. Without that, does the momentum keep going? They've kept it prominent. They've kept it new. They've kept it fresh, and they've kept the momentum going. And hopefully that sees a huge turnout on the weekend at Old Trafford. And hopefully that sees further protests down the line. Manchester United against Liverpool.
On the 24th for that.
The 2nd of May. That.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the game's been moved from the 1st. 24th Saturday.
Calendars, how do they work? Yeah.
So you're right.
I believe there's one for the Liverpool game.
And that could be a joint one, because we've seen a joint statement. You spoke to Andy Burnham. That video will be going out on the channel, or it will be out on the channel already. You spoke to Andy Burnham, who's the Scouse Manchester mayor. You've also got the actual mayor of Liverpool, who have joined together. They've got that reclaim your game stuff, and
some good ideas in that. To be fair, now I had a question, like 3 questions that was basically underlining the same kind of thing, really. And I had them from the night before, if anyone watched the stream that we did. I don't know if Andy watched the stream, but he answered all my questions before I got to my question. They sort of did a bit of a presentation beforehand, which you'll see it. Anyway, it's going out on the channel. So I literally said, you've kind of just answered my questions there. So I asked him for a little bit more information upon it. Basically, they were saying they want to try and legislate the 50+1 rule in England. But, obviously, if you own Manchester United, valued at like $4 billion-ish, right? I, as the government, can't force you to sell that. It'll get laughed out of court in 5 seconds. You can't force private companies to just give up their equity because when they bought the company, the law was one thing and you've just changed it out from underneath them. You will never get that through, as much as it's something we all want. So what they can enact is they can start making legislation where if they want to make changes to the football club, significant changes like creating some AIDS Super League thing, like changing the colours, like moving the stadium or location of the club, major shit like that that they think supporters might kick off about, they now have to do it, and they're talking about legislation which means that they have to get a 51% approval from their current season ticket holders, which is a right good step in the right direction. And they also said they're starting to put the framework in for 50+1, which means that a supporters trust, a nominated supporters trust, which obviously United we've got must, will start to accrue shares that come up for sale, and it has to be on a first refusal basis. So any shares on a football club which come up for sale have to be offered to the supporters trust. That's how you'll eventually get to a 50%+1 ownership.
It's the voting rights, which is a great thing in terms of we've seen in every. It's not just United, and this isn't me trying to excuse them, but if you look at all of the owners' statements, they all alluded to the fact that we're listening to our fans now. But I mean, you could have listened to the fans over the last 5 years. We've always said we didn't want this.
Yeah.
And it's like, now they would have to, so putting that into action, if they were going to decide on the European Super League for those at home, they would then have to put those proposals to season ticket holders, imagining maybe one United members if you've paid enough or something. They'd have to send them there.
Season ticket holders.
Yeah, and then you'd have to get a vote put through from that for them to agree to use guys go into the ESL or whatever. So that could be a huge step forward, and that's what's giving me energy for this. Because how many times have people come to us? Let's do this about the Glazers. Let's do that. But it's like we need 3 to 4 billion, guys.
Yeah. Nothing's going to enact change, but I do think this legislation can actually enact change. And for the first time ever this week, I've been campaigning about the Glazers for 16 years. I took the Love United 8 Glazer stickers to Afghanistan. Like that was 2006. That was only a year after they took the club off us. So I've been on the anti-Glazer thing for that long. But there's never been a time, even then, it was like, right, the owners, but I don't like them. There's never been a time where I go, I actually see the light here with getting rid of them. And I see the light because I think that they've always had, they're talking about 9 years in the planning for this thing. I think they've always had this European Super League cash cow coming down the pipe, and that's why they've never paid any interest off, and that's why they've been supposedly good businessmen have just been happy to just pay that credit card bill every year, which is run into the 1.5 billion sort of territory. That's not good business. I'll tell you that for free. So I wonder if they was always banking on cashing them chips in once the Super League had happened, and I wonder without them to now cash in on, does their desire to maintain ownership of Manchester United dwindle? And it actually feels like it could be. Might not be.
And that's the thing.
It could be.
They are human beings. They're very.
I don't think
might be lizards.
I don't think you can be so certain with that question, with that statement.
But okay, they
it's
are
potentially libelous because they might be lizards.
Okay, yeah, they may be human beings, and human beings by nature. If we have a little bit of doubt and people chip at that, and that's what these protests are. Knocking the door again. Yo, we're still here, bitches. We're still here. We want you out. And if you just keep doing that, and we keep lobbying to MPs, write an email to your MP, find out who your local MP is, write to the government. I don't know, write to anyone, yeah? Department of Culture and Sport or whatever it is.
There's enough Reds in Florida. Let's see what you guys can do.
Yeah. So go out, get right into these people. Tell them we're serious about it. Just because the ESL has been cancelled, It doesn't mean we can. And what I love is
So
it's
stand by it,
united
apparently.
everybody. It's united everybody.
Not everybody.
You say stand by, that means more reason why we need to keep going.
Yeah.
Innit?
Because I don't know if you've listened to any of Florentino Perez's, I'm going to call it Wibble.
Mate, is he right? He's that broke friend, yeah? Did you have one of these broke friends when you were kids, or like 16, 17, that took all the lads to a pyramid scheme? Florentino Perez is moving like that right now. And halfway through the meeting, we're the other English clubs, we've all gone, lads, this is a pyramid scheme. I think we need to get out of here. And
Right,
you're
I think
sneaking
you're
out the
doing
back, and
far too
Florentino
much
Perez is
credit.
at the front like, where you going?
No, I don't think it's a pyramid scheme. But I definitely think he's maybe mixed his meds up.
He's selling Herbalife.
He's doing some shit because, like, some of the quotes that have been coming out, like, people like to say, oh, billionaires, they don't know what's going on in the real world, right? Well, Florentino Perez is a poster boy for not having a fucking clue what's going on in the real world at the moment because he's coming out with all sorts of mad lines.
What was one of them? Kids want to see shorter games was one of them.
Yeah.
Was that multi-ball coming next?
Yeah, so 16 to 24-year-olds aren't interested in football. That's just not true, mate. You've just priced them out.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. It's this complete
I'll look around and say, it's
delusion.
old people.
It's complete delusion. Like, oh yeah, kids ain't coming to watch our games because they can't afford it.
I did
Kids
Price
ain't
of
paying for your
Football.
packages. Can't afford it.
I had a podcast with a Price of Football guy. And
Does
we
he
were
have a name?
talking about the what?
Does he have a name?
What?
Price football guy.
Does he have a what?
Does he have a name?
Kieran Maguire?
Just say you got it.
Okay. I was with Kieran Maguire, the Price of Football guy. And he's a Brighton fan, but he came at uni in Manchester in the 80s. And he was saying he would go and watch United because he lived in Manchester. And he said, he goes, oh, it was like 35p to get in the Stretford end. And I go, cool. I have a fucking clue what that means in real money, like in the 80s. I went, how much is a pint? And he went, oh, about the same. You go, right.
It's about
Imagine the
£5
price of a
quid.
pint to get into.
Max.
Even a day pint, even a London pint.
That's £5.
To
£6.
get in.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, it's like 7 or 8. I don't know where the fuck you go in London.
Got offie in it. Drink on the streets.
Do you remember that party we went to at the Shard?
Oh mate,
Right.
they don't need to let
Sure,
us in the
right.
shard.
Right? I had a rum and coke. I'm known to like them, right? I can't really act it out on my own. Anyway, it was 18 quid for a rum and coke. I don't like this. Fuck you, what? Right. I ordered 2 and all, so it's like 36 quid.
You're balling, you are. That's why.
Well,
I can-
it was the only 2 fucking drinks I had that night.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's
And
the
that
thing.
house wine left.
I don't even know where we've gone with this conversation anymore.
We're at the Shard.
Oh yeah. Have you ever been there back there since? I can't
No.
even speak English anymore.
No.
I haven't been there either since.
Anyway,
Sad times.
we are brought to you by the great folks, not good folks, the great folks at Manscaped. We're going to tell you a funny grooming story with Adams Johnson.
Yes, my Johnson has had a lot of grooming in its time,
Has it?
and ever since. Do you remember the first time you ever had a little trim downstairs or anything? You've not had a first day having a trim down there, have you? you've not, have you?
No, I'll keep it
Bro.
relatively. Not, I have a skin fade on my head. Not on the chaps, though.
Mate, if it's anything like your beard, you've got a lot going on down there, bro. And
Not as grey
you
as my
can't have
beard.
us pushing Manscaped on this channel every week and you're not dealing with it. Now, everyone at home knows the first time you ever have a little go of these downstairs, it's a dangerous one. Do you ask your old man? And by your old man, I don't mean your todger. Do you ask your old man, mate, what do I need to be aware of? What do I need to be careful with?
Well,
What do
don't
I need
use
to
the plug-in trimmers like them. When was the last time you saw a bloke doing a hedge? Do you want the ones like them little like...
Jose Mourinho on a Paddy Power advert?
Yeah.
That's literally the last time. Where did he ever go? But yeah.
He got sacked this week!
All right, we'll talk
And
about
it's
that in a
not
minute.
even news.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Exclusive 20% off discount using code Paddock20 at manscaped.com. Make sure you're looking after your balls, your gooch. You need me to do your gooch?
Do me gooch.
Can we get a close-up of him saying that, please?
Do me gooch.
All right, don't put the wide on when we use that. Just keep having him pop in saying "do me gooch." So everyone knows, if you haven't been downstairs already with one of these, you need to be a little bit careful. Don't be going in there, running around, going up, going down, this, that, and the other. And because you will bleed, bruv. If you're dangerous, you will bleed.
Not with a Manscaped.
But this is amazing. No nick technology, yeah? Waterproof. And you want to see something else? It's got a light, bro. It's got a light. So when you are doing your gooch, if you're on your own and I'm not sorting it for you, then you need that light, because that light, yeah, can be the difference between chopping that shit up.
Nutsack lifted. Right in there. Get up. Have a good look what you're doing. Here we go. Here we go. In we go. In we go. In we go. Trim. Fresh. World class. That's what we're talking about. Manscaped 3.0. Champion.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code Paddock20 at Manscaped.com. Seriously, I'm finished, man. Just make sure you use the code, please. Paddock20, Manscaped.com. And yeah, don't make yourself bleed or anything like that.
Use the right tools when trimming your bush, you bastard.
And can we get a petition going to get Steve to sort out his undercarriage, please? I feel like that's a national disaster waiting to happen.
www.domegooch.com/Manscaped.
But yeah, make sure you go to manscaped.com and use the code Paddock20 at checkout for 20% off. Got bush? Change that with Manscaped. Right. We talking about gooches. Jose Mourinho got sacked this week.
You did.
What do you think of that?
Do you know when he goes all dishevelled? He definitely stops trimming the boys, doesn't
He does it on purpose. Like now, as soon as he got sacked, he will have a Manscaped, Paddock20 at manscaped.com. He will have
for men out.
He will have a go. He will do the
Turkish
just for men.
barbers.
Yep.
One of them lollipops in your nose and all that shit.
Suntan.
Yeah.
New suit. Because you know what he does? He'll be running around in his work gilet on his day off and that. You think, bruv, you look stressed. Like, you look like a man that's given up and don't care. Your hair's all over the place.
He exacerbates it. Some of them from the last few weeks at United were mental. But he exacerbates it, makes himself look really thingy, and then he's like on a whole makeover, as if to say, I'm ready to work again. I'm ready to fail again.
Euro 2021, you think we'll see him back in the punditry?
100%.
And alluding to the fact that there'll be people on Twitter going, mate, did you hear that from Jose? Get him in
Here's the
now.
thing is, right, Jose's been at the top of the game for 20 plus years, hasn't he? Even if he has completely lost his mind, he's still going to have loads of really good insight and one-liners.
And the theory and all those kind of things, tactics, how to work out a low block, but putting it into practice, getting the man management. Man management's so important. You shouldn't even know that from like the level you're at, how important speaking to people is, because you don't realise that sometimes, how you speak to people. I'm just letting you know right now. Like, sort shit out, bruv. Speak to people properly.
I do.
Moving around like a fucking young Jose Mourinho, shouting at people, telling them to do your gooch. Stop it. Ronaldo's scared of you,
No, he ain't.
He is.
He doesn't know what day it is.
Exactly.
No, that's not to do, mate.
He's walking around in a state of fear.
My players play with no fear.
I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I think you're doing a Jose on some of them. Sort it out. Stop it. Be nice. Be kind. Hashtag be kind. Innit?
No. Hashtag fucking score. You dicks.
I like that hashtag better. Can we get it on a banner?
Just fucking score.
Yeah, man. Jose's gone though. Were you shocked at the timing? Especially with the final.
Yeah, I was a little bit shocked at the timing, but I'm not shocked. I think the Jose man management thing's mad, because there's a few books that have gone really deep into Jose. The Barcelona Legacy by Jonathan Wilson's phenomenal book about him, and how he uses manipulation to turn people around. Something that he did with Maniche, I think, even when he was it even when he was at Porto?
There was a Deco team in that.
Yeah, I think it was when he was at Porto. Wasn't happy with him. Subs him in a training game and says, "You run around the pitch all the way around while everyone else carries on playing." I think he'd only done 2 laps in like 8 minutes or something like that. So he fucked him off to the changing rooms, said, see you tomorrow. Comes in tomorrow, you with a B team. Then they have a chat, and then he's like, player of the year for him. Like, he has to like psychologically break people down, and when he gets into people like that, they will die for him and they will fight for him. But this was a charming Jose in 2003 to 4 and 5, where he had that. He's become bitter.
I think winning's made him more like he's always had a sense of arrogance, but you've always felt there was an approachability there. You could. Now he's got that sense of arrogance where it's I'm better than everyone else. You are beneath me, and I think that doesn't work well, does it? Because it's almost making your team feel like you're otherising them, aren't you?
He was an underdog. Even at Chelsea, he was still an underdog because United was the power. Benfica's the power in Portugal. But his entire career, I mean, even if you hear about how he came into the game as the translator. And also, I find this hilarious how Ollie gets called a PE teacher when Jose was literally a PE teacher, and so was Louis van Gaal, by the way. Both of them actual PE teachers. Madness. Anyway, so when you actually hear about how Jose Mourinho came into the game and how he started with stuff and what he was doing for Bobby Robson, and the reason Bobby Robson liked him, Bobby Robson couldn't speak a fucking word of Spanish at the time when he was in Barcelona, and he would give Jose Mourinho tactical instructions. So he'd say them, and Jose Mourinho would then say them again in Spanish to everyone. But he said what he really liked about him is Jose Mourinho would deliver it exactly as Bobby Robson delivered it, and he wouldn't give a shit who he was talking to.
In terms of tone and because that's important.
Stoichkov, you got to track back, mate. That's shit. Would Mourinho be right in his face doing the exact tone? And apparently Bobby Robson loved how he didn't just translate the words, but the message,
the emotion.
Yeah, everything about the entire thingy. And he said we would often talk tactics, and obviously he was very studious of the game. Tactical periodization is something that he's mega into when it comes to like how he sees the game being played and all the rest of that sort of stuff. But even when you hear about what he was like in terms of everything he needed to control, he was very thorough in his preparation, and that was one of the things Bobby Robson liked about him is when he would ask him about the opposition. Bobby Robson was very similar to Alex Ferguson, and he was a risk taker, and he wanted, like, all the training sessions were about finishing and shooting and that sort of stuff. And everything was just fucking work harder. There was never really much tactics in it. So when he got a tactical report for the opposition off Jose Mourinho, as you would imagine now, as we've seen Jose Mourinho for 25 years about what he's all about, he was very much focusing on what the opposition do and how to counter what the opposition do. And Bobby Robson, because that's not his nature, loved it. And I think Bobby Robson had quite a lot.
That's where you find a balance in that over management and, you know, like giving too much information to people. Because especially like, let's bring it to the present day, or even that team. If you overload those Barcelona teams or a Man United team with, like, we hear stories about when David Moyes was in charge of the club, Manchester United, and he did training sessions based on the opposition for like an hour, 2 hours. And I think it was either Giggs or Robin Van Persie just walked off the pitch like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, you can't overload certain teams and certain players with stuff about the opposition because it's supposed to be about how you are better than them. And I think you've got to find that fine balance. And with him, he doesn't have that balance.
If you're Manchester United, yes. You walk on with a certain arrogance about how we're going to play our game today, and they better learn how to live with it rather than the opposite. Now, you can do it in dribs and drabs because I know we played Barcelona a couple of times where we looked to nullify and hit on the counter. But it wasn't our default. Our default was go play and express yourself and see what you can do. And
that's the thing. Jose will get Spurs beating City, beating Liverpool, but then Fulham, Newcastle, Brighton, and then, they won't get a result. And it's like, that's where the players like Kane will be sitting in the dressing room thinking, again, Brighton, we're doing this. And you gotta get the balance
defensive
right.
set pieces this
weekend. It's like,
what
the hell? Like, how can we go through? It's like Dele Alli said it in. Have you seen that Amazon clip when he goes, all we're doing is just defending and hoofing the ball? That's why he's not around no more, because he's not with the manager.
Well, there's Hector Herrera, the Inter Milan manager, the one that won the European Cup with them, that came up against the Lisbon Lions in '67 when Celtic won it.
A bit before my time, then.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, apparently before that final, he'd bigged up Celtic so much that some of the Italian players were like throwing up, nervous. just because he'd really got into their heads. Like sometimes you want to get into your players' heads, don't you? Like, listen, what you're saying as a manager is, don't fucking take this for granted. No, don't think that you've just won this game. You have to show up here. And maybe he's overstepped the mark. And I think Mourinho was one of them as well, that he puts too much fear about the opposition into a player. Whereas Fergie was...
And fear of him
yeah.
as well. And you can't walk around a dressing room on eggshells.
But Fergie was the opposite. And if you listen to what... Fergie literally tells you how to do it. He would say to the players, oh, you're so strong. And it sounds like so patronising and pathetic. But he would say, I never wanted to say, you look tired to a player, because then he's going to feel tired. So Fergie, it's psychological, but he's always trying to be positive with it. And when some people, I think, criticise Solskjaer for that, he's literally reading Fergie's handbook. And in Fergie's handbook, it's put confidence into the players.
It's like not telling them they're dropped, telling them that what game they're selected for.
Listen, in a couple of weeks, you're the fucking man for that.
But hold on, I'm dropped for 3 games. But no, but you're there. Yeah. We need to save you for that. And it's like, you've been dropped. But it's a different message. Like, your brain takes it differently. And those things are important for players, especially in his tactics.
If Ferguson would go, fucking hell, McManaman the example, in the 96 Cup final, we really need to do something about McManaman. Now, he would sit with his captains, so his squad leaders, your Cantona, your Hughes, your Schmeichel, your Robbo. And he would sit with those kind of players and he would be like, what do you reckon about these this weekend? Cantona had a bit of input. McManaman, you let him play in between the lines, he's going to destroy us. What do you reckon we do? You just put Keane on him man-to-man. Okay, cool. So when Fergie's delivering his team talk, it'll be, well, we all know what the team talk was. Have you fucking seen what they're wearing? They think they fucking won it. Absolute set of clowns. Get out there and fucking show them what we're about. Keane, you're marking McManaman.
Yeah, it's that afterthought.
Yeah, and it's, make sure you don't fucking let him go. But what's the message of that? These are all fucking clowns. Get a grip. Keane, I'm at McManaman.
It's like it's only Tottenham. It's like, you may have gone into that game thinking, oh, this Tottenham side are all right. But then it's like, it's only Tottenham.
Matt Busby, right? We got Alex Stepney's shirt in there from the 68 Cup final. Not the actual shirt, because that's worth all the money in the world. But we got a signed shirt in there from
kicking down our door, whatever you do.
No, that's just one-off toffs or something that Alex Stepney signed for us. But that Cup final, the game before, the semi-final, we're in the Bernabeu. I think we're 2 or 3-0 down, half-time. And he said, everyone's steamed in there. Bobby Charlton's out shouting. Nobby Styles is shouting. Everyone's having a go at each other. George Best's kicking off. Paddy Crerand's having a go at everyone. He said, and Busby walks in, sits down. This is, honestly, black belt man management, this. Because what's happening? If you break it down to the what's happening, lads have lost their heads.
Yeah.
Lads have lost their heads. How do I get this back under control? Now, whether he consciously thought of this or it just felt like the thing to do for him, he sits down. Do you ever have any relatives that had a pipe?
Yeah.
It's like a bit of maintenance.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah. You got to like knock it out, you put your shit in, you got to fucking, all the rest of it. It's not like lighting a cig. There's like a...
I think they called it a bong.
So there's a ritual almost to it. You know, clean it, pack it, light it. Takes a bit to get it going. There's like a whole process for it. So Matt Busby's just sat there. He's really like chill, emptied his pipe, repacked it, lit it, started smoking it, looking at, just having a think, Joe, like not saying anything. Yeah. But what's happened to the change room?
Everyone's gone.
Everyone's sat down.
Quiet.
And they're just looking at him. He's just completely took the sting out. It's fucking genius.
He's diffused the whole...
Absolutely.
Because in that point, you can either take them with you now and you're just going to keep hyping them up. And then when you lose... Like, I've lost my head a lot on a football pitch. Like, when you lose your head, you're gone, bro. You're gone. Like, you literally need someone to calm you. And that, you can tell how that would be like. You'd be arguing and you just go...
Gaffer's just sitting there. Well, it's Matt Busby as well.
Yeah.
The gravitas that bloke had in a change room, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And he's just sat down, leg crossed, by the door, just takes a couple of drags, and then Stepney goes, he just started laughing. You're like, we're fucking 3-0 down, second leg. Laughing. But the place is silent. And he just starts laughing and he goes, you're all good players, but you're not playing like you're good players. Go out and play football. What the fuck? And then we go and win the game. What the fuck? What the fuck?
And what's mad is, I don't know how fucking TV punditry was then, but if that was now, it'd be like, oh, he's changed this and he's done that and he's changed this and oh, have you noticed that guy? But really, he didn't tell him anyone to do anything. It's just that they're now performing.
He chilled it. He got everyone's heads back on, even in the final against Benfica. So think back a couple of years when Cristiano was like just owning the Ballon d'Or. He's the World Player of the Year, Portuguese lad. You're coming up against him in a final. You've not worked on it in training. Apparently we just played five-a-side all week in training and the build-up for it. And then in the tunnel at Wembley, he goes, hey, Nobby, you're marking Eusebio. And then walks off.
Nobby had already done it in '66. Was it the semi-finals for England?
Quarters, was it?
It was something like that. But he played every minute in the World Cup for England when they won it. And he marked Eusebio out of that tournament as well. So, but yeah, I mean, Nobby probably thought already he was going to do that. But yeah, that's...
But not to, I mean, maybe
not
going to bed
all week, yeah.
Eusebio.
And it's not other players thinking that's his job. So, so those other players would still maybe try and do something because they're not giving the responsibility for someone else if he comes in. Yeah, I like that. It's good.
And that's what I think Jose... Because I think people forget, like...
We are comparing him with the two greatest Manchester United
Fuck him, he thinks he's one of them.
But,
so,
yeah.
I think that people forget how much of management is just managing the lads. And I think Solskjaer's been brilliant at that. And I think even if Jose might have, and he probably does, right? He probably has the best tactics in the world for every game. But getting the lads to do them is another thing altogether. And I think that a lot of football and a lot of the coaching side of stuff, I'm listening from my fucking 10 games experience, but this is just observing the actual professionals that are doing this. I think so much of it is keeping them lads happy. And I think Sir Alex wasn't necessarily the most tactical manager. He had his moments.
Yeah.
But like, he just knew how to get a tune.
But you also heard
people.
Mourinho's, like Rui Faria was his good cop to the bad cop. And losing that is a massive thing. Because he was the one that would, tell players, watch out, manager's on a fucking mad one today, boys. Or, whatever, like just be able to relay the messages without telling them to fuck off and die, as Jose would. Missing that is a big issue as well. Or having someone in the dressing room that believes in him. At the end, he only had Kane with him. And it's like, if you're ruling by fear and trying to say, you don't want to be Dele Alli, because look at him now, you're forgetting the fact that Dele Alli is their mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not just their employee, and he takes the emotion out of everything.
And players are also saying now, fuck you, mate. I'll outlast you. The average lifespan of a manager now in the top flight is a year.
Well, his lifespan is 3 years.
Yeah. But even at best now, it's a year. For most managers, it's a year. So anyone that's fell out of a manager, chill.
And I reckon when Pogba come out and spoke, there were people in that dressing room probably going, sounds about right to me. With agreeing with Pogba and that. Because Pogba, he has a lot of sway, doesn't he? In the football world. Like, everyone loves Pogba, whether they play for Man United or France or not.
I mean, ultimately, everything I've ever heard about Pogba from the United dressing room is how good he is. Yeah. Now, people have got their own opinions. I think most fans are probably line up with my opinion on I can't be asked for the Circus with him. Great player,
everyone.
Great player. Circus is fucking annoying. The players care less about that.
Yeah.
And they just see, this guy's great on the pitch for us, and he's great in the changing rooms. That's their opinion of him. And I'm sure a lot of the players are probably like, wish he'd sign that fucking thing.
Well, there's talk today that Bruno Fernandes won't sign unless Pogba does.
Oh! Getting booted in the dick and poked in the eye.
It could. I literally said to Thingy upstairs, that's either the greatest thing I've ever heard or the worst thing that could happen to us.
That's poker face.
That is like, shit.
Darren Fletcher's walked into work this morning, seen 20 lads in the car park, and then picked the paper up and gone, oh, fuck.
Yeah. But if Bruno can... Because they've got a good relationship, man. And I remember people saying, look at Bruno, Pogba, like, you need to be doing that, and vice versa. Bro, we need both of them.
We do.
And if we get number 6, we got the best midfield in the world. Like,
yeah, I could roll with that. If we got a player of their level that sat in and did that job, yeah, I'd go to bat and say put that against any midfield in the world.
It's the best. Guys, make sure you're protesting this week if you can. If you're in London, go to the Arsenal one. If you're near Manchester, go to the Manchester one.
If you're in Florida, you know what to do.
If you're in Florida, go there. I heard there's a United office in London as well. Well, did you hear my plan this week? And
Yeah.
it got backfired. So basically, I planned to go to the London office on Wednesday morning with Joe and basically doorstep Ed Woodward. And then the night before we were about to go down there, he quit, the pussy. He bottled it off me. That's the narrative we're going to go with. He bottled it, yeah. Anything you got to plug this week, apart from your Bert?
No, not really.
Chatted to Chris Wilder this week, didn't you?
Yeah,
It's not out yet, I know that.
Not sure when that's coming out. We delayed it over the European Super League talk. It was good. I don't know how edited it's getting because he wasn't necessarily allowed to talk about everything about Sheffield United, and that was all he talked about. So there's things that's going to have to get edited from that. He's like, they told us, did no one think to tell him as well.
Yeah. That was like Ryan Giggs. I did an interview with Ryan Giggs, and he was like, before the interview, he went, don't ask me about Gareth Bale. All right, sound. One of the questions was, who do you want the most signed for Gareth Bale? Signed for United? He went, I'd love us to sign Gareth Bale.
You're like,
Thought we weren't supposed to speak about this, bruv.
do me gooch.
If you want to do your gooch like this man, make sure you get over to manscaped.com. Use the code Paddock20 at the checkout for 20% off. You can either have your balls as shiny as Jay's head. Your gooch needs sorting, so it's not as shiny as yours.
You don't know about my gooch.
I've heard Jay and Joe told me.
Oh. I don't know if they know.
They do, trust me, they do. But yeah, if you want to do your gooch, Paddock20 at manscaped.com. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Saturday, protests at Old Trafford. Friday, protests at the Emirates. I'm sure there'll be more happening as well. We'll have it covered here. We've reached out to people like MUFC and various different supporters associations, different fanzines and so on, and we'll try and gather as many opinions as possible. If you see us on the weekend at Old Trafford, feel free to come and have your voice heard. If that's what you want to do, we'll be there for you. Anything else?
No, I'm not going to be there.
But we are.
Yeah.
Repping.
Before everyone was like, well, why the fuck not? Because I'll be getting knocked out of the fucking cup with Paddock.
Yeah, so they're getting knocked out of the cup with Paddock. Me, Joe, my brother, and various other guys will be there, and I'm sure loads of other Reds. So we'll see you in a bit.